You ever just stop and wonder about that? You see a cool new app or a gadget and you think, wow, what a great idea. But how does it get from being just an idea, maybe a sketch on a napkin, into a real, tangible thing that you're holding in your hand? Who's the person making sure the right thing gets built for the right people at the right time?
Well, the answer is the product manager, or PM for short. The best way to think of them is like the conductor of an orchestra. They aren't playing every instrument, but they're the ones making sure everything comes together in harmony. They're responsible for guiding that product's journey, all the way from a spark of an idea to a big, splashy launch. Okay, so where does this person, this PM, actually fit inside a company? Well, picture a wheel. The product manager is right there in the middle, the hub that connects all the different spokes. But, and this is super important, the PM role is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's a totally different beast depending on where you are. In a scrappy startup, the PM is basically a jack of all trades. You might find them interviewing customers one day, writing marketing emails the next, maybe even helping QA the code. It's all about speed and survival. But in a big corporation, the role is way more specialized. You're not wearing a dozen hats anymore. Instead, you're focused on coordinating huge teams, navigating complex processes, and hitting very specific business targets. The environment really does shape the job.
So, what does a product manager actually do all day? I mean, how do they really take a big, fuzzy vision and make it real? Let's break down their core jobs. You can really boil their work down into 5 key areas. It all kicks off with strategy, making sure whatever they're building actually lines up with the company's big picture goals. Next up is discovery, which is this really cool phase of detective work, hunting for real customer problems that are actually worth solving. Then you've got delivery, where they team up with designers and engineers to, build the thing. But it doesn't stop there. After launch, it's all about measurement, diving into the data to see if it's working. And the glue that holds all of this together? Communication. Constantly keeping everyone on the same page, moving in the same direction. If you want to simplify it, just think of it as a 3-step journey. First, they translate the company's high-level vision. Second, they discover a real problem to solve. And third, they partner up with the builders, engineering and design, to deliver a solution. It's a really powerful flow from the abstract to the concrete.
Now, here's the thing. A product manager cannot do any of this stuff alone, not even close. Their success, their entire job really, depends on how well they can work with all those spokes of the wheel.
They're essentially a human bridge. They're the ultimate translator, taking the language of business and vision and turning it into something the execution teams can understand and get excited about. They make sure everybody's speaking the same language.
And here are the key players they're talking to all the time. You've got engineering, who are focused on feasibility. Can we actually build this? Then there's design, who are obsessed with the user. Is this product easy and delightful to use? Marketing is figuring out how to tell the product story to the world, and sales is on the front lines, bringing back priceless feedback from actual customers. The PM's job is to take all these different and sometimes competing perspectives and weave them into one single coherent plan.
This all sounds like a pretty major leadership role, doesn't it? And it is. But now we get to the most fascinating and maybe the most counterintuitive part of being a PM. It's kind of their secret weapon. Just take a second and think about that. With all this responsibility for guiding teams and making huge decisions, who do you think is actually on their team? Who reports to them? The answer? Pretty much nobody. That's right, the engineers, the designers, the marketers, they don't report to the PM. And that right there is the biggest challenge and the most important skill of product management. So how on earth do they lead anyone? They do it through influence, not formal authority. And the foundation of that influence is a really simple but powerful idea. Credibility creates authority. You don't get to lead because of your job title. You have to earn the right to lead. And they build this credibility, this trust, through very specific actions, by being clear and competent, by making decisions backed by real data, not just opinions, by being a fantastic listener and making sure to give credit where it's due. And maybe most importantly, by creating a compelling why that gets the whole team fired up and motivated. And this ability to build influence is tied directly to being an absolutely top-notch communicator. You have to be able to speak everyone's language.
A great PM is like a communications chameleon. Seriously, when they're talking to executives, it's all about the big picture, the strategy, so they'll use a high-level presentation. But then, in the very next meeting with the engineering team, they'll completely switch gears.
They'll be talking about detailed technical specs, often in a project management tool like Jira. It's all about tailoring the message, the format, and the goal to whoever is in the room.
All right, so we've covered the theory. Now let's make this real. Let's put you in the driver's seat and see how all this plays out.
Okay, picture it. You're the PM, your designer comes to you and says, "We need more time to really polish this feature and make it perfect." Then your lead engineer warns you that the project is getting bigger and bigger. That's scope creep. And to top it all off, the marketing team just told you they've already announced the launch date to the public. Everybody has a perfectly valid point. So, what do you do?
Well, the goal here isn't to make everyone happy, because that's impossible. It's about making the smartest trade-off. A great PM starts asking data-driven questions. What's the absolute minimum level of polish we need to solve the customer's problem? Can we launch the core features now and add the nice-to-haves in a later update? What is the actual business impact if we miss that launch date? They use data and strategy to navigate these tough calls and find the best path forward for the business.
So if you walk away with just 3 things, let it be these. 1. PMs live at that critical intersection of business, technology, and design. 2. Their success is built on collaboration and telling a great story. And 3. Their greatest asset isn't the authority on an org chart, it's the influence they've earned.
And that's a wrap. But before you go, I want to leave you with one last thought. Now that you have a peek inside the mind of a product manager, how they see the world, how they connect ideas to reality, and how they solve problems, take a look around you. What problem, big or small, is just sitting there waiting for a solution?